start recording. So just for the camera to see now, the notes from baseline video, for Junker Queen specifically as well, we're not going to look at comparison number one because it was a different hero. We actually got quite lucky that it turned into a Junker Queen meta, to be honest. But my notes were pathing to backline. So I had to begin pathing to backline through flanks and rotations in order to act squishies on and shout out. I had to stop being lazy with target priorities and abilities, so I needed to stop shooting tanks and stop just using abilities to make up for lack of aim. And I needed to path corner to corner in order to live and land axes on squishies on engage. So yeah, I needed to learn how to path, which is corner to corner. I needed to learn to path onto backline rather than taking a frontline battle, and I needed to stop being lazy and shooting tanks and start going on squishies and using shotgun on squishies because I was shooting them too much. I was shooting too much tanks. So that's just like the general basis of where we're up to. And then, Mick, when you're ready, we can have a look at this new code and kind of just cap off the project, really. Well,
All right.
this will kind of be like, if you were to watch it in chronological order, this would be second to last because I'm going to have an evaluation after this to make.
All right. Let's take a look at it then. See where it's at.
Probably should have like not started the video straight away, and waited for you to be ready first.
In a production, I don't know what to tell you. Low production value, low budget. There's an entire budget of I just came home from forklift certification, and there's a whole budget of 0. All right, hang on.
Let me just hit pause recording. Okay, we are unpaused,
We are on post indeed. All right, let's go.
and then we're watching some Overwatch now. This is Overwatch.
This
Mick,
is indeed Overwatch.
explain what Overwatch is.
That's. Do you want the short or the long explanation? Because the
I
short
quite,
explanation is really short, and the long explanation is really long. So
I quite like Super's one on the Jimmy Fallon show.
it's well,
It's in a,
it's
it's a, well, actually, his explanation's outdated now. It's a 6v6 team-based game where you fight over different objectives on different maps.
mm-hmm.
That was his explanation. Anyway, this is irrelevant, so I don't want to start waffle straight away, but
We can have some waffle later. We do like waffle. We do like waffle.
they are quite nice.
Yeah.
Tasty. Are we gonna ask the questions that we always ask?
We can if you want me to.
Well, we can make this. I mean, I guess there's no point voting it because it's a win, but
I was gonna say, I mean, we can make it a bit of a vote. I mean, to point out if it's better or not, for sure. Okay. I mean, we're on Queen. Defense, Shambali. We're playing with these heroes. That should be obvious to us. Although not entirely obvious right now, 15 seconds into the game, you get the information of what they're running. So having that information already now, what do we do? What are we trying to do?
I'm trying to path onto that Torbjorn.
Mm-hmm.
Torbjorn is immobile and has no sort of peel abilities. Like if we land a knife on him and pull him into an axe, he immediately has all of his overhealth, even when he pops overclocked, and his armor health stripped away. And then it's just like I think the shotgun, like one good shotgun shot, actually can just kill him from there, from that point on.
Okay.
Cass is a
Cool.
tricky one.
Cast a trigger? How come?
Yeah, because he's got a roll. And actually, if you time it well as Cassidy, if you time it just as I start to pull, you can completely negate the effect, like the pull of the knife. Bap and
Mm-hmm.
Anna can be good, but also can be bad. If she's got any abilities, she can kind of just make my life miserable. Because unlike with Winston, I can't bubble dance really. So, and Bap has got an immortality field, which just completely ruins my day. Um,
Mhm.
One thing to note about Baptista is he is also immobile, which means that if I force immortality out, I can actually re-engage faster than he has it back.
What about Anna? What about forcing cooldowns on Anna?
That kind of has to happen through landing a knife from long range, playing a corner where I can jiggle peek in a safe position, but that would also
Mhm.
require her to be like quite close, which a good Anna won't be. This Anna
Mhm.
was quite close a lot, which meant that her cooldowns were forced often enough for me to be able to do stuff. But
What if your Bastion peaks far and goes turret form, and then the Anna is like sat here and just goes like, you know what? Let's stop that Bastion and tries to sleep dart it. You're playing the back corner right before cap or first point, right?
so
What if you see that? Like, would you just go for the Anna or?
you have to path. You have to. I mean, I guess it depends how ambitious I'm feeling. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling maybe a little bit saucy, I might rotate around through Mega Room, drop down balcony, drop in behind, axe, kill it, shout out, rotate back up through that left side building, through the Mega building, and come back up. I guess that's very situational and a big rotation. So
Mm-hmm.
if I think I can get away with that, then I will. Probably not in a 5v5 neutral fight. I don't think I'd just drop and allow my team to have to deal with their entire backline. With their entire team though, because they'd probably just run us over. But if I can path to it, I think sleep dart is the biggest one. Because if you've got shout and you get antied, it's not too scary as long as you're in cover. Um, but if you get slept as queen, you're just a big squishy really. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so if you get slapped, it's a guaranteed anti where everybody can surround you and you're pretty much guaranteed to be dead. So sleep dart's the big one for Anna.
Right. There's certainly a lot of cooldowns to be forced as well, right? So we have Overload, Sleep Dart, Nade, Lamp, Shift,
Roll.
Roll.
To some
As I,
extent, nade, but I wouldn't. I don't really factor that in
um,
too
I
much.
mean, we add Nade in there because it is an important cooldown for Anna's
No,
survivability.
no, I mean Cass.
Oh, you meant Magnetic Grenade.
Yeah.
Okay, no, Magnetic Grenade we do not factor in. All right, let's take a look at what happens then. It seems like the understanding is a lot better. But there's two parts of Overwatch. There's the knowledge, and then there's the practice. We gotta acquire knowledge, and then we gotta practice it. We can't have just one.
I'm wide beaking a lot here, aren't I?
You are, yes. You're also not nearly using your knife enough.
And why am I just free to throw out on cooldown in that kind of situation?
Yeah, it's just fishing, right? It's like if there's two like situations, right? Just a quick explanation where it's like, well, there's actually three situations, right? There is the I am holding some space, looking to push in and access squishy. There is I am pushing some space, um, looking to like axe, right? There's like so that those are like kind of the same, but like opposing, right? And then there's the other one, which is I am currently in control of point. So let's say you were contesting card like we'll go over here because this is a better example. Let's say you're playing the corner down here. Give you a nice blue. You're contesting that corner and card is somewhere here. Given the fact that they want to move that payload, you know for a fact that they will at least to some extent trying to push this way through where you are holding, and then you can just axe them on their rotation.
Yeah.
So it's like what we call like just like uncontested territory place in general. It's just kind of waiting until they have to move past you or into you. So and then the last one is what we call fishing, which is you don't quite feel like you have the ability. Oh, that's the wrong color. I don't like that. Hang on, wait. Okay, so you're looking to just like you push in and act someone, but you don't quite feel like there's an opportunity. Maybe if they're playing like a really brawly, like really deathbally, really stacked composition, you feel like if you go in there, you just blow up. Maybe you feel like if they get on top of you, you kind of blow up, right? Or maybe you're just leveraging a high ground for a long time and you haven't really gotten an advantage in the fight yet. especially since you're currently down your bastion.
And I
You
mean,
just
long straight to be able to try and
Mhm.
collapse that. There's no way I'd collapse that far into a Torbjorn and a Bap.
I mean, you can reduce the distance and narrow the angle a little bit more, right, by going here. But for all intents and purposes, what fishing is essentially just landing knives and squishies to force cooldowns and to displace squishies to the point where if they were playing all around card, maybe you don't feel like going there is that good. But if you land into an Anna and you pull the Anna, like if you're on that corner and you pull her like that general direction, it displaces her to the point where she now no longer has an immediately like sort of like ability to escape. She is pressured through the impact damage and through the pull damage, right? Like the bleed, not the pull damage, the bleed damage, right? So the impact damage, the bleed damage, quite significant if you land and direct. If you drop on that immediately now, which you can do after pulling her there with the axe, you delete the Anna. She actually just dies outright unless Immortality Field comes out. The thing is, if we force Immortality Field, okay, great, we forced you to use something. We've dragged the fight this way. We forced you to use some sort of cooldown, and we're able to engage on it, right? So those are the different things. So fishing a lot more is important. I said that was going to be a fast point. It wasn't a fast point at all. We do fish. We just, I think, we're saving knife for no reason.
Okay.
Okay, we're going on the back. That's really good. We do have decent cover. Wasting axe. Okay, we find a Torbjorn backline. We go on top of him. This is exactly what we want to do. Beautiful. Bit of a stagger kill. Concept is fairly good. So
Just quickly, do you reckon you could restart stream?
I can
Just
definitely restart
because the
stream, yeah.
quality is extremely low. Let me close this Google tab. Maybe that'll help a little bit, and I'll close BattleNet Launcher, and maybe that should help things out a little bit. Just because the quality is really low. I don't mind, but maybe for the sake of the video. There we go. That's perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. All right. So to sum up that fight win, is that there's a bunch of micro mistakes and there's a bunch of macro mistakes. It's small macro mistakes. The general idea was right. Execution wasn't perfect, but the general idea was right. We leveraged high ground until we figured out that we could engage on a squishy. We engaged on the squishy. There's a little bit of like macro mistake because I don't think we actually did enough fishing yet to the point where a higher elo game you would have probably just been punished here. But we still go in, we get the kill. It doesn't really matter. We get the value onto the back line. So for all intents and purposes, for your improvement points, that is a lot better. There was a little bit of tracking down the Torbjorn with your gun and not just trying to melee him again. Okay. Nice. Onto the squishy again. Beautiful follow-up shot. Get a little bit greedy.
Yeah, I shouldn't have engaged from my backline was under pressure.
Or perhaps you just stabilized on corner, and when you realize that you're not stabilizing, then you perhaps shouldn't peek wide, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Because if you're not stabilizing, then what is happening?
I'm dying.
Okay. And if you're and if you go back to a corner and you're waiting for your supports to help you and they aren't doing that, then what is probably happening?
They're probably getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to think you might know something about this game.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful knife.
I was fishing for it. I was looking to see if he was going to peak enough. for me to get the kill.
This is great though. You've removed Bat from the fight from a little bit, and you forced this lamp, right? So, if we didn't already have 2 kills and probably would just win the fight, I would say just go for your Jungle Queen, all right? All right. Peeking a bit too far wide again.
Yeah, that's a big issue that I have.
Mm-hmm. As soon as you land the knife, you aren't going to put the knife into someone and then shotgun them when there are 2 supports healing each other and have a kill happen, right? So just chill after you land the knife for a second. Be ready to pull it and follow up on it, right? It's much
Yeah.
more important.
So what would you say? Like throw the knife, immediately dip back into cover if it lands, straight back out, yoink, shotgun, if axe is possible, axe. Sort of
Well,
thing. Like
so
here, like throw it.
right now, if you had landed the knife into the Baptiste, obviously just yoink it back in immediately, but you join it like you split your damage here, right? The knife damage is on the Hanzo, and your primary damage is on Baptiste, which means that you're pressuring both of them, but you're pressuring both of them exactly to the point where it doesn't matter because the Ana will just be able to keep them alive.
Yeah.
So what I would have done is I would have, first of all, target priority. Baptiste is a lot better, right? But I know your mechanics are not always the greatest, and we'll leave you to the benefit of the doubt if you intended to hit the hand, so if that just happened.
I think that
Probably
just
just happened.
happened, to be honest. If
That just
had
happened. But what I would have done now is say, okay, I'm not killing any of this. Or like sort of it's not something you consider. It's just like kind of intuitive. But you need to practice it for it to become intuitive, right? Is I would say I have a knife and a target right now. Chances of me killing any of this right now when I don't have axe is very low. And I am getting pressured quite significantly at this point. I have 3 like poke potential characters facing into me right now. And I don't have my major survivability cooldowns. I don't have shout, I don't have axe, right? Axe is the highest healing and the highest pressure. Shout is just the best defensive and really offensive too, if you think about it, cooldown. Shout is really important. So what I would have done here is say, okay, I need to just chill for 3 seconds, play around here, and then I can look to pull back Hanzo. I don't know where Hanzo's going to be at that point, but chances are that if I don't peek for a little bit, the Baptiste will have healed me up enough to the point where I can pull Hanzo a little bit closer, and the rest I can leverage my HP pool to get rid of Hanzo. Then once you get rid of Hanzo, once that fight is a little bit dragged out, it gives your team more time to follow up on that, yeah? And then you can maybe go for staggers, depends on how quick that BAP is to get out. All right. Team cleans up. Optimistic. Optimistic.
honestly, there though, if I'd shouted, I probably would have landed that knife. But
If you had aimed the knife, you would have landed the knife.
I was trying. Okay.
I was gonna say, it wasn't a distance issue. It was you shot to the right of the Ana.
It would have been an easier shot though if I'd shouted.
How do we get to the back line here with Axe?
Like I said, path through Mega Room. Either we can drop out the short window or we can drop off balcony.
Or if we don't want to path through there, what do we do then?
Path through left side.
Path through left side? What if we don't want to go left or right? Because then maybe the entire team just rushes up to objective.
Well, then we chill on corner and then we can land a knife on somebody and yoink them in.
And why can we do that? Why can we leverage that?
Because we've got a lot of sustainability because of our bleed damage. So we can rely on ourselves to be able to sustain a position like that for a while. And also, we've got this crazy ability that yoinks people like 4 meters closer.
But why is it that if we don't feel like we have enough value to flip the fight, because right now, like if you run in every single like cooldown is up, every single cooldown comes up, it becomes like a micro thing. Whoever is better in that micro, so whoever has better aim, whoever has the better like heroes, for example, and whoever has like a little bit of like macro as well, like the not the aim part, but like who has like better ability usage is like a little bit of macro, right?
Timing, yeah,
Who
stuff like that.
and there's also like just like like uh positioning, right? So
Yeah.
why is it that we could leverage playing
Because
corner? Why is
they're
that a
attacking,
thing?
so we know
Yeah.
where they're coming from. We know that they're gonna push down main because they want to get to the objective.
We don't necessarily always know where they're coming from. There
Well,
are currently there are two flanks right now that could be used. But
okay,
why is it like right now
correction.
that
We know that they want to get to the objective, and that is the corner that the objective is on. And we can sit on that corner, and if they decide that they want to go through right room, I can land a knife on somebody and keep them in right room in a close corner where they don't want to be.
Mhm.
Or if they push through main, I can hold that corner and kill them. And if they push through left, I can path round the side and kill them.
All right. And we can also see pretty much where they're going
Yeah.
right now. They
Like
aren't
if
being we have already sort of like seen where the team is going, so there shouldn't be any surprises, right? So that's also an important key part of that. It's a little bit of like extra reasoning at the end, but you need to have that reasoning.
shouldn't peek in up matrix.
Okay. Nice.
Should have just chilled in that room to stabilize.
I was gonna say there was
The
no reason we could have just chilled, and if you had chilled here, you probably would have had enough HP to go in for a decent size rampage.
thing is, I wasn't sure if I was going to be in. I wasn't sure if I was going to have too much cover to be like even peeked by my supports.
That's fair enough, but in either case,
Chilling in cover is better than chilling out of cover, yeah.
pretty much.
And also I know exactly where they're going to come from in there, because I have full control over that room anyway.
Substantial. Focusing a lot on the back line. I like that.
Not enough cover there.
I think the main thing is the pathing, like using cover to path and trying to not necessarily peak, right? But the thing is like I don't know how to explain the concept, but we'll try to explain it the best way possible. But just looking at this part of the map, right? If you are playing some sort of composition, let's call it brawl, and you want to go here, right? And you want to end up on their brawl somewhere here. Okay? Then any amount of value that you can get from corner, that means any amount of poke, right? Well, every single time you do that, if you're not winning the matchup, yeah, poke is coming back your way. And it's like a micro thing. Whoever lands like more headshots or more daggers wins, right? In that matchup.
Yeah.
They do technically have the advantage because they can take more angles, they can control better, right? You kind of have 1, 2 that way. So whenever it comes to that, yeah, what we need to understand is that essentially and this is with most compositions, if you're peaking without getting value, if you're peaking and you are not able to get value, rotation needs to happen. Or in this case, it's not a rotation, it's a pathing. There's a massive misunderstanding on what the difference in these two. But you need to do pathing in cover, which is just getting to where you want to go to in cover. Now, none of this is cover, right? So it's very important that rather than taking a lot of poke here before deciding that we need to get up here, it's really important that we play here. We peek maybe once just to figure out, okay, that's where I'm going. Do not peek until everything is up, and then we just gun it down. Because once you're in this space and you're pathing, they can still get value on you. They can still get value on you, and then you end up at the same place where you now have like a slightly lower, like less than what they have, right? You have slightly less value than what they have. So that is why it's incredibly important, because presumably that queen haven't used the brawl ability. Like that queen haven't used axe either, because she can't axe you. But her entire team will have gotten poke. That's why it's really, really important. Either really, really fast rotations without peeking too much before, or just simply not peek before you're there. So like what are the cases where you can not peek before you're there? Can you come up with an example of how you would be able to not peek before you're there?
What, on this map on first point?
Just like it's a common scenario where you're able to get on top of the enemy team without having peeked them at any point.
Well, if we're going back to the example on first, I could rotate through right side where there's complete and full cover. If they're playing, assuming they're playing down main, do you know the area? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so that's a way, right? That's a rotation where you're able to go and basically this is where we said that we're playing, right?
Yeah.
And this is where we said if you're looking for knife value here, you don't want to be taking like too long and then standing here, standing 1, 2, 3 rotate, because those 3 seconds is enough for a Torbjorn, for a Hanzo, for a Baptiste, and for an Anna to get value onto you from here. And to make it even worse, at that point when that happens, the enemy jungle queen just steps out to the side and goes, "I'll deal with you," yeah. So that entire thing is just really, really difficult to do, right? But there's other so the first scenario is like just it's not really chokes, it's just like hard corners, right? Like if they're holding a corner, if they're holding this corner, right, and you're all playing on this side, if you're stabilizing here and then you decide to walk on them, you've closed the distance to them basically fully in cover, right? And then the last example of like being able to close distance fully in cover is using high ground, right? Because high ground is cover, and if high ground can drop to where they want to be, that's the exact same scenario, because high ground is essentially just a better corner. Because the high ground is just, instead of a 90-degree that way, it's a 90-degree that way. So high grounds essentially are just better corners. They are. I mean, it's a corner. It's just it's a horizontal corner. That's a vertical corner. A horizontal corner, yeah. Horizontal corners, high ground is what we call it, synonymous in the Overwatch sort of like terminology. Just a better corner, right?
High
That
ground
is
for
important.
bad corners.
High grounds are better corners. You heard it here first.
Quote.
Quote.
I think the amp matrices this game were actually criminal.
Yeah, this amp matrix didn't end up getting any value, and I noticed that you're told in between sort of like trying to get value through the window and trying to deal with the rotation, right? The answer will pretty much always be, if they're rotating away from the window, you should pretty much always try to go on it.
I was unsure. I was like, Queen started going down main. I'm not sure if she's backed out yet. Because I didn't watch the rotation happen. I didn't want to peek too long and get pulled down, sort of thing.
What does this corner allow us to do?
Stop peeking the amp matrix. That will blow me up if I peek it.
In other words, what does it sort of like indirectly allow you to do?
Allow me to stop taking damage.
It kind of allows you to engage the backline without moving. because you have the two criterias, right? You're not pathing in closed space. You're sitting in closed space, and you know for a fact they're pathing through that space, yeah? So there's no difference here. Like in one scenario, you walk through some amount of closed space, fictional, there's not anything here, and then you arrive at a destination, and you have not taken any damage. But right now, you're not moving, but you are sitting in closed space, and you are sitting in cover, and you know that they're pushing through, right? And as soon as that happens, you're able to just decide who to go on because they're all roughly going to be stacked up, yeah. So essentially, you've done like everything you needed to, but instead of doing a pathing, you've just like waited and known that they would be pathing. So the example we were on about down here, and it was not the example we were so much on about over here, but definitely over there, right? So it's perfect example. Do we leverage it enough though? Missing axe is like the worst thing you can do, because if you miss axe, no one is going to respect you anymore. Well, I mean, they probably will still respect you, but they shouldn't respect you if you miss your axe. If you stand out in the open and you don't have axe and you don't have cover, well, you are dead meat.
I'm
Especially
sorry,
when they
Rob.
get mana.
He doesn't respect me anymore because I missed axe.
Oh.
Oh, I lost the whole team's respect now because I missed an axe once.
No, but wait. So you might want to deal with that lamp. Okay.
Just stacking the bleeds first. That part was coming.
Okay.
That part was also coming there.
All right. So for the defense, I think everything except pathing in cover or leveraging getting on top of the supports in some way from cover. That is the only part I will say that has not improved enough. It's better because I remember your queen used to be quite substantially in the middle of the road where the payload would go every single time, and then you would just run at them. Especially just run at the enemy tank. They would have like an Orisa. She would like just sit there with Golden, and you would just try to pummel away at the Orisa, and nothing would happen. And then you would just get poked down. Good. Good pathing. Good targets. Just chill. You don't need to do anything here. You just need to not die. You've already gotten a pick. Take the health pack.
I didn't know there
Let
was a
just
health pack in there. Oh, I can't. Maybe I remembered it at the time of the game.
No. Just don't do anything drastic here. Just wait. The Baptiste actually helps you so much there, not gonna lie. Okay.
Right,
It's fine. She's out of position. Good body block. Good axe. Good knife. Chill.
rotate to your
How do
right
we
side.
get?
Rotate to your right side. Rotate to your right side. I'm watching it back and it's hurting.
Okay. It's okay, to be fair. It's just you're slowing down how quickly you can go by peeking a lot. And like, especially when you have to wait for a Baptiste, it's fine. Like, to be fair, you don't have to go right side. Maybe going left is the right play. The point is just we need to be decisive and we need to be quick. Right now, we can't really do much. We can maybe punish the queen by trying to knife her and pull her into Bastion. Because the queen is really far up here.
Oh, don't worry. I was screaming. I was like, if everybody just shoots at this one queen, she will die. Like, there's no possible way she could ever live this far into spawn in this much open space. And it was just like, no shooting the queen.
I mean, to be fair, there is an Anna and there is a Zenyatta that
That's
have line
true.
of sight onto her. Well, Sen doesn't have line of sight. Sen could have line of sight. He doesn't. Anna does, though. Okay.
I finally got the rotation at least.
Mm-hmm.
And then I make a big mistake here. Oh god, don't watch this bit. Mick, please don't watch this bit.
I saw nothing. I didn't see whatever that was. I don't think I can describe it.
It was bad.
Nah. I'm joking. I could describe it in very, very good detail, but there's no need to. We'll leave it at that.
I mean, I know I should have been playing in more cover, but holy mechanic diff. I mean, I also try to
um,
knife a lot against a Zenyatta who can melee boop me away. It's actually macro diff, but
all right. I think my assessment would be that usage of gun and usage of like landing knife and getting it onto squishies rather than just hitting tank because it's easier is that you're trying to do it a lot. The sort of, shall we call it, ability based aspect of it all is a lot better, and the target is a lot better, but the pathing is still not good. The pathing is still better because at least now we're trying to do these kind of pathing. If maybe that just does mean run down through main and get on top of the backline by running past the queen, that is still better than trying to diff the queen, right? Now this is where we get to the point where you perhaps need to be a bit
can I just,
more
if I was to
creative.
do that, should I just pop shout? Like, if I have to just run down main, should I pop shout in order to land the axe?
What does the issue become with doing that?
It's harder to get out, but if I'm only going to be in there for 3 seconds,
Okay, but like let's say they're just sat there poking at you and they're not using any abilities, and you're using abilities to get there. What do you lack when you actually arrive at the fight that they then have?
abilities to kill them.
Abilities, right? So like you're gonna run into them having less like numerical value than they do. So do you win?
No, I lose.
No, you lose, right? So so yeah.
Okay, so just to oh, I'm gonna have to open up this Google Doc again. Hold on. All right, this won't take 2 seconds. Practical skills. Okay, so to recap, baseline was pathing to backline through flanks and rotations in order to act squishies and shout out. would you say that has got better in general? Like I'd say that is more just discussing. I need to get the concept of queen in. Would you say I have now got the concept of queen down?
Not fully. It's the concept is a lot better, but I think there's a lot of missed opportunities to apply it, which may come down to a bit more sort of like playing through scenarios, deciding in the scenarios, getting a feel for it, learning matchups, right? That kind of stuff. Maps in particular is very important. Having a good grasp on what you can leverage on a map, because what you can leverage on a map changes drastically depending on what type of tank you're playing. And when I say what type, there's only 3 types. It's dive, brawl, and poke. So learning that in general is a good idea, right?
Okay.
And that might be able to get you to have the concept learned fully. I would say we've tried to apply it a little bit now. We've started to dig into it, and we're over 50%, like quite a bit, but we're not fully there.
Okay. Um, I got a question about that, but we'll go through these first. The second note was don't get lazy with target priorities and abilities.
Yeah, that is good now. Like to the point where it's very rare that I watch you go for queen. And when you do go for queen, it's because there's an obvious sort of like value in perhaps being able to have her isolated, but she's very far overextended. Whenever there's no one else around, it's a fight you're closing out, and you just want to make sure that queen doesn't get any more value. So I would say like that is like I would put that firmly within the like great right now, where it used to be poor, like we're now at like great, not perfect but great.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then path corner to corner in order to live in land axes on squishies on engage. That is the big one that we still haven't hit then.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Okay, I feel like maybe would you like to give like maybe scaling it would make this a little bit easier just for the do you know what I mean? Like give it like a 1
Mm-hmm.
to 10 or whatever.
Yeah, so I think
Oh, hold on, let me just okay, yeah, let's hear it.
okay, so I
Hold on
think
2 seconds.
the
Not you, Mick, not you.
all good. Right. Okay, so I think the first one, if we take a look at that, sort of like pathing using cover
Yeah,
into backline. Uh a set, like give it a 5.
okay, 5 out of 10, take it. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
number 2.
If we take the number 2, I think we give it a 7.
Okay, I'll take that.
And then I think if we take the last one, depending on how mean I want to be, I think we give it a 4.
Okay. And then is this sort of like it's a 4 out of 10 compared to like what Masters players would be doing, or like it's a 4 out of 10 just
It's like a for each one of those, it's like a when is the concept down and being applied every single time.
okay.
Every single fight. Did you make a mistake in this fight with it? So like, you know,
Yeah. Okay.
that's roughly what it is. Because well, in order for you to be like masters, well, maybe you can just perfect these 3 things, right? But if you want to be like, top 500, well, there's a whole like new set of scales you'd have to max out as well, right? That are not currently maxed out.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing about Overwatch, right? We work with a couple of things at the time because you can't like practice with purpose if you're practicing everything at the same time, unless you're an absolute robot or like a machine of an individual. You're not practicing 10 or 20 different points at the same time in a game. You'll forget half of them, and you will not properly practice the ones that you do remember. That's why that, like, as I said, like, It's just like the RAM in your PC, you know. It's fast working memory. It moves a lot of data. Like it moves very little data, but very quickly. So that's what we're doing, right? We're moving a few things at a time, hopefully a lot quicker though.
Okay. And overall marked improvement from the baseline there.
I mean, from the baseline, it is significantly better. Like, if
They hit
if
quotation marks on that one.
you can, of course, significantly better. Still room for improvement, but significantly better, right? Getting close to the angle of a little few extra adjustments, and maybe you can push into masters, right?
Yeah.
Especially given how good Junker Queen is right now.
Would you say if I was to hit masters? I mean, this is actually completely irrelevant, so I'm just going to end the video there. So there we go. That is the final video done.